Edit that part out. Good morning, Syuhada. I am so grateful that you are here because we're going to do a little re-record of the lesson that we did on the weekend because your camera was being a little
Hi,
bad.
Jack. So, hi everyone. My name is Syuhada. So, good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. So, I will be doing sort of like introducing you guys a part of ornamental flourishing, which today class I call it blooming cartouches. So, it's we're gonna have a lot of fun. Although this is a recording one, we had fun last time, but
We had
because
fun
of the
last
document,
time.
so we're gonna have like double the fun.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the presentation first. So I'm gonna share the slide. So you hit the like.
Going to
Ah,
make you the full, I'm going to make you first co-host.
all right. Oops.
There you
And
go.
let me admit first. Okay. Oh, Alicia entering the waiting room again? Oh no.
She's been here all morning. I'm not sure what she's doing.
Okay.
I put her in the waiting room
Okay.
because I was like, I didn't want her to hear my meeting with Dana. Uh,
Okay.
so we'll just ignore her.
All right. Okay, so here's the presentation. Let me put it.
And I'm going to mute myself so I don't interrupt you and take myself off video so that you
All
can do
right.
your thing.
Okay. All right. So, okay, back to today's topic, which is the blooming cartridges. So before we go through the subject of the day, all right, I would like to do a little bit introductions about myself. Okay, so this is me, Syuhada. People know me from the Instagram called By Hand Arts. You know, By Hand Arts. Okay, same from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And a mom of two boys. This is my kids, Ryan and Aiden. Uh, I started calligraphy back in March 2016, which is, I think, about 10 years ago. The purpose is to sort of like distress from corporate stress. Then the stress never ending. So in 2021, I decided to go full time as a calligrapher and also calligraphy instructor. So what I did a little bit about, as a full time calligrapher, I did the brand activation, doing calligraphy, engraving, and also bottle painting live on set. And sometime I have the calligraphy workshop. Okay, so what I teach here in Malaysia, if you happen to visit Malaysia, you can find me to learn calligraphy. So I cover beginners and intermediate copper plate calligraphy because that was my sort of like my core, the first script that I ever learned when I started calligraphy 10 years ago. So aside from these beginners and intermediate, I also cover the ornamental flourishing, which is what we're going to do today, a little bit part of it. And also did a brush lettering and text to texture, which is more on the non-traditional experimental calligraphy. So yeah, that's about it. Okay. So our objective today, we're going to learn to do, okay, this is cartouche. So we're going to learn to draw cartouche, break down what the fundamental strokes from the cartridges that we're going to draw later. And hopefully with whatever we're learning today, okay, we're going to transform this beautiful cartouche into, many, many cartridges here that you see, which you can use it as decorative elements for your envelopes and also for your greeting cards. So this is my passwords from 2017, 18. Yeah. And okay, so the tools that we need today is if you're familiar with pointed pen calligraphy, please start with using pointed pen calligraphy. But if you don't, it's using pencil or the pentel filled pen is also great for starting. As for paper, it depends on your tool. If you're using pointed pen calligraphy, definitely go for a bleed proof and smooth surface kind of paper. So my go-to practice paper is make marker pad by Canson because it's smooth. and it's bleed proof. If you don't have this, you can actually, go for tracing paper. And if you're using just, using a pencil or feud pen, yeah, any paper works with it. And the paint that I'm going to use today, the ink, is walnut ink, but feel free to try it with any ink that you have or available at your place. And of course, you might need this, but if you don't have to, it's okay. But you would definitely need pencil or eraser for your drafting purposes later on, if you're not so confident with your stroke. Okay. All right. Okay, so here is my sort of main reference to do flourishing. This is the 3 books that I have in my library. One is Flourish by Vaco. I got it from all this are from online shop. I can't remember the name of the shop, but I think if you Google, even can get it from Amazon. And the second one, I mean, my most favorite among all is the Universal Penman engraved by Josh Wingham. I love this book because it has so many exemplar samples to beautiful flourishing. And the last is the Ornate Picture Calligraphy by E.A. Luffer. Okay, so next will be the research and collect, because when we study all this book, especially the Universal Penman, most of what we see is not the manual of how to do it, but more on like the reference of how's the shapes, the collective design. So how to help us into getting better at flourishing, especially, is to trace those flourishes that you love using tracing paper or the thin paper and a pencil. So you need to trace the fabric flourishes that you see from the book. Okay, and it's sort of like training your hand, and then you're gonna pay attention to all the strokes. You're gonna figure out or analyze where it started, how it ends, or where the loops are turning. So it's very, very important for you to sort of like hands-on with it. Like take your pencil, trace it, try to go follow and copy the flourishings that you like. Because it's sort of, those practices actually build your muscle memory. So from there, your strokes will improve, and it's also kind of like lock the idea of the designs that you have. So whenever you want to do flourishing, you will not run off idea, or you kind of like stuck when doing the flourishing. So it's a very, very good practice to copy all those beautiful flourishes that you see. Because when we write, we remember better. Okay. Little bit about, introductions or definitions about flourishing. Flourishing is a gentle art of extending oval and the curved strokes. Okay, because when we learn calligraphy, we learn from the basic stroke, and then we construct it into the letter form. So same goes to flourishing, but it's just a extending art. You have all the oval and the curved stroke in your lettering. So you're gonna like double or triple all those strokes and build your flourishing. So the purpose is to beautify and also balance your lettering or your decorative. So how I view my fundamental strokes in flourishing is these two main fundamental stroke, which is the universal line of beauty and also oval. So when I combine these two together, I will get the ascus over here, which is the universal line of beauty, and combined it with the vertical oval. Or without the universal line of beauty, you got the C curve, the incomplete oval, where the shaded's on the left or right, so it's still a vertical oval. Or when you are looping your oval, overlapping it, you will get the spiral oval, like the one you have here. So these are the two examples of the flourishings where you're adding oval, like in this letter Alwyn, I add oval on the front of the A, at the back of the N, and also at the bottom, at the for the act of flourishings. And it needs to be, balanced. And this is the sample from the ornamental, sorry, what is that, penman, the Universal Penman by Josh Minkum. So you see the repetitions oval, the loops and the universal line of beauty at the, horizontal angle. Okay. So yes, next one is touching a little bit more about flourishing. How to define good flourishes is when you have a graceful movement. So especially when it comes to your hairline needs to be, flowing smoothly, naturally, not stiff or jagged. But of course, at the beginning, it's normal to have shaky or not so smooth line, because it's your first time. So your hand haven't get to used to do those stroke. So it's always, at the beginning, you get a little bit frustrated with your hairline, but don't worry, keep practicing. Your stroke will get better. And the next thing about, having determine the good flourishing is when you're having a balance and spacing, your negative space and also your hairline interact, properly, not so cluttered, not so heavy on the shaded. It's kind of like balance, harmonize. And of course, you need the consistency in style, especially on the weight, because when it comes to flourishing, you actually adding more kind of like hairline with the loop, more on like more monoline. But when you add your shaded stroke, make sure that you don't add too much of the shaded. You can have shaded line, but not too thick. All right, so to keep, the flourishes balance, not too heavy and not overpowering into, the lettering that you have on it, because we beautifying the, with flourishing, we actually beautifying the lettering, not to overpower, our letters. And last is breathability. Flourishes should feel very light, very spacious. So you don't want it to be crowded. Also, the spacing have to be, spaced out. You have, the air can go through it. Something like the one you have here. You see even the flow in between of the loop. It's spacious. The one you see on this on commission as well. The space are very, it's similar spacing, and then the curve, and if you notice the shaded lines is also less, not too much. So yeah, this is something that you want to have in your flourishes. All right, yay, we're at the cartouches. So cartouche is an ornamental penmanship, it's a decorative frames. You will see actually a lot of these design cartouches during festive season, especially Christmas. So a lot of cartouches will come out during, will appear at our Instagram or our social medias. A lot of calligrapher would draw cartouches during festive season. So this is what we're going to do today. So the stroke, if you break down, you can actually see the main component of cartouches is the universal line of beauty, whether it hairline or with a shaded line. And then when you add with the oval, you got the S curve, or without the universal line of beauty, you have the C curve. All right. And then, of course, to beautify, to make it more fun, more beautiful, you will need to add these ornaments, like you add onto your Christmas tree. So you have the pointed leaves or rounded leaf that you can do with using the what's that called, traditional pointed pen. your nib and your holder, and then you're gonna add like fern and baubles. Baubles is my favorite, so I'll show it later. So before we start to draw our cartouches, we're gonna start with the warm-up first. Okay, so I'm gonna change it to the visualizer. So you're gonna see me doing the warm-ups. Check. So these are the warm-up we're going to do. We're going to do the circular motion, flower boom, and also infinity loops. I think which in your notes. Let me, how do I share? Okay, we're going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to share the other, oops, the other page. Now I'm going to share my visualizer. It's here. Ta-da! It works. Sorry. Me enlarge this. And here. So change. Oops. Okay. This is better. Let me check the autofocus. Oops. Okay. Right, you better now.
It's perfect.
Okay, so done. Okay, so first warm-up is the circular motion. We're gonna do the anti-clockwise. And also the next one is it's clockwise version. So what you need to do without any pressure, just need to glide your nibs onto your paper without, pressing onto your paper, just glide and try to make a round oval or slimmer oval. You want it to be consistent in shape, overlapping it. And then the next ones is the horizontal, the clockwise. Don't press onto your paper like this. You can see it's very scratchy sound. You want it to be very light gliding. Okay. So next ones will be your flower boom. Okay, we're gonna have first starting with 90-degree vertical oval. And then we're gonna have the horizontal, oval. And next we're gonna have the oval that probably at 45 or 55 degree diagonal to the horizontal and vertical oval just now, and then the other side as well. Okay, so you're gonna have this movement, this movement, this movement, and this movement. Okay, so yeah. The last but not least is your final warm-up, which is the infinite loop. Okay, the figure 8. So start having the horizontal level on the left, and then goes to your right, and then continue gliding your knee and making sure that both oval on your side, on your left and right, is visually equal. Right. And when you're making all this warm-up, you are actually using your full arm movement. You don't use your finger movement because it's very restrict, like a very limited space you can move with a finger movement. So make sure that you lift up the whole arm. It doesn't really have to lift up your hand literally, but it sort of like just touches the paper and do your warm-up. It is very, very important to start any calligraphy with warm-up to sort of preparing your mental and also your muscles before you start into doing calligraphy. Otherwise, you might get frustrated with your writing. So that's about it for your warm-up. So next we will go through cartouches. All right. Let me show the example of the cartouche. So this is one of the example. So like I mentioned just now in your note, the main elements or core fundamental strokes the fundamental strokes of cartouche is the S curve, and then you have another S curve on your left side that is smaller than the mean one, the fundamental one, and then you can have another C curve in it. So this three, S curve, another S curve, and your C curve. All right. And I would like you to imagine cartouche like a kind of bouquet. So there will be always a rope tying onto the, holding all those bouquet. So for this part, you will add half of your shaded oval like that. So mine looks very plain now, but once you add the ornamental, for example, you can add the pointed leaf like you've seen in your notes before. Okay, hairline, and you're gonna press and pull and let go. You get the pointed leaf, right? Or you can add my favorite fern. Or you also can add the rounded leaf. Okay, so to do rounded leaf, you need it to do it from top to bottom. You need to press to get the leaf and then pull for your for the stem. So in order to do this, you need to sort of turn your paper and do it upside down like this to get the rounded leaf. Okay, so then for the final touch, you're gonna add the most powerful thing, the beautiful baubles. What is hollow? Or you're gonna have the one with the ink on it. Add it around or on top of your hairline. Okay. Or you can even combine it with your pointed leaf by adding it at the front there. Okay. Around it. And the best part about these baubles is it works in covering your shaky lines. It kind of like distract your mistake in a way. So when you have a shaky line or lines that you feel it's very wobbly, you add the oval on the line itself. Like for example, this one. Okay, so then suddenly with all these elements that you have, your cartouche looks complete. Okay. Not only adding baubles, you can also actually balance the hairline by adding the shaded line at the left or your right, or any hairline that you feel you need it to be highlighted. So it's suddenly like pop up, but of course not too much shaded line. Like I mentioned, it needs to be balanced with rhythm. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna draw another one. S-curve, another S-curve. And then okay, this is the magic. I like to use my C curve and connect this hairline, like close my C curve and making it like a rope holding the bouquet. So instead of like stopping here, I would like to use it and then continue to cross into the hairline. And then only I add the shaded line on it. So this is like one way to do or hold your cartouche bouquet. And just now we add the ornamental element. You can actually also add repetitive shaded line like this. Like a curve like that. And last but not least is then only you add all those tiny little leaf or the bubbles. Mm. Okay. So that's two example. One with the just 3-stroke, one is with the additional innocent line of beauty with the shaded lines, following the parallel to the curve that you have in your S curve. All right. Okay. The next one will be adding more oval. Your one S curve. Oops. Another S curve. Another one is the C curve. Joining to hold your cartouche. And then you saw the V opening here. This another, space that you can actually add your next asker. And probably this C curve, but crossing your bottom C curve, right? Or to close this part, probably you're gonna add the spiral oval. Like, okay. And just need to add more shade to balance. And add bubbles around, or even the star. Oops. So it's instantly becomes something else. Okay. Right. Jill, just checking how many more minutes I have.
You have about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. The last
But
one.
you don't, but if you're done, you can be done.
Okay.
It
I
doesn't
have another
take quite
one.
as long. Okay. Perfect.
The final one is where I'm gonna teach you guys how to elaborate on making your cartridge bigger or longer by using this stroke, which is the loop and also cups. Okay, so for example, you have a bookmark that you want to do. Where's the ruler? Okay, here's your bookmark. And then you're going to have the name here. Let me draw my that line, my X height. Okay. Dave is not here, but the other day I wrote Dave. So I'm going to repeat that. So when you have this kind of design, you can actually bring this cartouche onto your lettering, sort of like growing from your letter D here. The S curve. So another. That's good. So instead of having very short cartouche over here, you can actually have this S curve. You add another loop and you can actually change the directions by adding another ovals, making your cartouche longer, something like this. Oh, this is terrible stroke. But yeah, this is the idea. So by here, or if you want to change by your directions from, if you're looking at here, the next direction will be this way on your left. But if you want to go back to your right, you can actually overlap this, change directions to the other side using cups and loops. So these powerful tools, strokes, gonna help you a lot, especially when you have, design, for example, like the one I did the other day is, where did it go? Hold on. Yes, this one. Yeah, this one. So when you have a shapes to fill out or to decorate, all right, instead only just do it in one directions, you can actually, sorry, didn't see. In one direction, you can actually take the loop whether increase the amount of oval or change the directions of where you bringing your next strip or next oval. So using the loops and the cup, it is very, very useful when you have this kind of, filling out the negative space kind of idea. Okay. And then you add through here, here, and I probably want to have name in it. At this one. Forget to add the bubbles around and more elements like your pointed leaf or your rounded leaf. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's the idea. So we have covered from just a single cartouche into a different versions by adding more sheet lines and adding an oval and, make it your cartouche longer, and also with the versions of filling out the space. So yeah, that's about it. Okay. Okay, Jill.
Oh, that was fantastic. Awesome. That I'm so grateful that you did this. That was really, first of all, it was really informative and so beautiful. And